Where do I start? They say life imitates art. I'm trying to paint a picture. Paint a picture that's licking you scripture. I ain't just another nigga. Another nigga with a dream. It seems we finally made him all believe. A dream to be the reason we come to achieve. The life that we would all kill for, even die for. High score, so sick,
Christy,
so sick.
Christy. First last name, Wentzell, Wentzell, and Johnson, Johnsson.
How are you so lucky to get all these names?
I know, I was thinking about adding more, but just haven't figured out.
What more would you add to your name?
What was it on Friends? Phoebe became Princess Banana Hammock Consuela or something.
So what would be your hammock fruit of choice?
My hammock fruit. Mango.
Mango hammock?
Yeah.
Mango hammock with espresso martinis?
Yes. Oh, wait. Espresso marshmallow martinis. Oh, my God. They're so good.
Are you sure?
Yeah. They're really good. Like, so good.
I'm going to have to take your word for that one. Where do you find one of those?
In Dominican. It's the only... Oh, in Mexico. They don't make them around here. I'm sure they do, but I never go and order martinis anywhere. I'm going to look it up. And then I'm going to bring you one.
Espresso marshmallow martini.
Okay, do you like chocolate milk? Oh. This is lost on you.
Okay, well.
If you poured alcohol in chocolate milk, that's what it tastes like. With a little splash of coffee. Oh, it's so good.
So you can stay up all day with milk gurgling around in your stomach.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Plus random Dominican food from the all-you-can-eat bar. The mystery meat?
No, it's good food.
It's not mystery meat?
I'm sure that they have a name for it.
You don't eat a lot of animals.
I don't.
Why?
Because they're cute. Also, I had a dream once, which I tell everyone this, that I was a kid when I had this dream, but I was walking and I was passing a farm and all the cows were like cow-shaped, but it was just like cow-shaped ground beef. And I haven't really eaten beef since then.
This happened in real life?
It was a dream. No, it didn't happen in real life. Where did you find cow-shaped ground beef?
Well, this is where I was curious. Like, where are you going?
It was a dream that I had as a child.
How many years of childness had you lived?
I must have been like 9.
Okay. That's I guess that, yeah. And since then? Then
I ate burgers in college because it was college and you eat bad
burgers,
food. Yeah. And then I stopped eating it.
College. What did you take in college?
I took business and then public relations.
PR. What? I have so many questions. I feel like I could keep just asking. Like,
is it about ground beef shaped cows? Or?
PR gets a bad rap, doesn't it? Like I feel like the term like PR.
Okay. PR, yeah. Spin doctor comes from PR. So PR is like
what do you
something
mean?
bad happens and then you shape it to sound like it's something good so the company doesn't ruin their reputation.
Okay.
But usually PR is communications and it's really just businesses getting their message out and you don't have to spin doctor it.
I mean, that makes sense, but how does...
As a general rule, I make things sound very good. That's my job, is to make things sound good. I would never, because I'm not the type of person to really like get in with anything bad, I would never make something really bad sound good.
That's where my brain was it was going. Like you and Trump's people.
Oh, can you not put me in the same sentence?
Sorry. Oh you God. Do the things that some of Trump's people do to get a bad reputation for it?
Well, I don't.
But you do the act of what you learn how to do.
Yes. Yeah.
That's a pretty cool skill.
It is, as long as you're not working for Trump.
Do you care about American politics?
No, I don't want to talk about that at
all.
I just don't like Trump.
I'm always curious about people who care and I'm one of them because I don't really follow Canadian politics the way I should, but American politics is just so much more entertaining.
It is, but why do you say you should follow Canadian politics?
Should we not follow Canadian politics if we live in Canada?
It's up to you. Do you find politics interesting?
I think it's more than, do I find it interesting? I feel like if I knew more about it and I knew the things that were happening and if they were affecting me, then I probably would be more interested. But I think politics, like PR, gets a bad reputation for being something that's not.
Yeah.
So I'm interested in like how politics, like what it is, like at its like true core of policy and decision and like change, but politics.
Yeah. Because for me, and I don't want to talk about politics, so I don't know how we're going down this hole.
Yes.
I only really find out what I need to know before I vote. Like, that's when I care about politics, is when there's a vote coming. Other than that, it does not interest me. I don't find it fascinating, interesting. It bores me, and I don't follow it.
So if things happen, so you're one of those people, like if shit went wrong and like it was because of voting and like policy and stuff, you couldn't say nothing because you didn't care up until the last minute.
But I vote.
But do you know enough of the things to vote? Because that's also why I'm scared to vote, is like, I feel like I'm not educated enough to know about like, hey, I would choose this person because it's like, I don't know. I think they all have their platforms and it depends on how much you research, but how the hell are we still talking about politics? I don't know. But for those of you who don't know, welcome everyone to the Changing the Narrative podcast. I'm your host, Terrence Taylor, and I'm here today with a human being that I met at PodCamp. Mm-hmm. So you said front row in the corner, and I was babbling on about this podcast, I think, actually, which is pretty cool. Shouts to Mike Tanner and PodCamp. And I don't know, you're an interesting person.
You don't know I'm an interesting person?
I don't know, period. You're an interesting person.
Thank you.
And so I was like, who is this person? And I would like to know more about this person. And then I found out all the cool things that you do. So I was like,
so many cool.
Well, we need to share all this cool shit with people because I'll be selfish to know all the things that I know about. Well, I'll be selfish to keep your voice and your stories from the people because you know about cool shit like personal branding and like PR. and what other? Well, Christy Wentzell Johnson's in the building. What up?
You know, just hanging here. Third hour here.
Chilling.
We've already talked about everything we need to talk about. Well,
yeah, sorry. We saved all the content for before the microphones were on, but no, we actually saved some because I had a few like juicy questions. Tough questions. I don't know if I even remember them now. Okay. But you will remember them. Okay. We'll remember them and we'll talk about things. Personal branding was one. Yes. You were going to define my personal brand. Oh. And what you, from your perspective, would say. I would love to know your thoughts. Okay. And your criticisms. Because you need both. Yeah. So I want to make it better. And if I'm sitting in front of an expert, what'd you call it? What's the title that we...
Did we say expert? I don't remember.
No, we definitely said expert. There was 2 words in front of it.
Personal branding?
Personal brand expert. Yeah. Personal brand expert. Yeah. So yeah, that's what you do. And you do all kind of other cool things. We're going to talk about all the things. Mm-hmm. But if you could like sum yourself up like quickly in like a blurb, because I don't know if my introduction gave you enough justice and maybe there are some holes in my boat that need to be plugged. So who are you? CWJ. C-Dub.
I am a person who took PR really young. I I was like 20 when I graduated. I went through NSCC. I did business course for 1 year. I did
You're from
PR for 1 year.
Halifax.
From the Valley.
Oh, the Valley.
Yeah,
Okay.
The Valley.
The Valley with air quotes.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
The dip. Anyway, so I did public relations and communications for a long, long time, and I had several corporate jobs. And then I kind of wanted to shape my life, so I started my own business, and I partnered with an amazing group of people, and I work very closely with a company called In Touch Communications. We do amazing things.
Yeah.
And now I'm just kind of shaping my life, and I'm doing what I want to do, and I love branding, and I love marketing, and I love building relationships, and I'm doing that every day that I want to work. And on the days I don't want to work, I'm not working.
Shaping your life. That's a cool way to phrase that. What shape is your life right now?
What shape is my life? My life, I should say, I have shaped my life to have a good balance of work plus fun. So when I say I shape my life, it means that I'm not working in a job that I don't want to work on. And I'm not like committed to a contract. I'm not committed to anything. I'm just living my life in the way that works for me now. Yeah. And everything is intentional. And I'm not doing the things that I don't want to do. And that can't happen to everyone all the time, right? Yeah. Like you don't always have the opportunity to do that. I worked really, really hard for a lot of years. So I'm now in this position that I can do it.
What is this position? Like, what is, like, where you are? What would you call that?
I'm self-employed. I work with the clients that I want to work with in marketing. So now I'm more marketing than PR, more branding. I'm self-employed, and I'm partnering with the people that I want to partner with.
What do those people do? Like, what does that look like? Which, because essentially that's like the interest of you must have to be parallel with the interest of these people, right?
Right. So my biggest, I don't want to say client, but the company that I work with the most is In Touch Communications. We do video production and marketing. Okay. We do video production in a very different way than other people do video production. Everyone's different. I like your vibe too. So that's the company I work with the most, and we have a lot of different clients. Some I can't really even talk about, and some I can, because we kind of integrate into their marketing teams, which is really interesting. So a lot of the work that I do, I will never get credit for.
What do you mean?
Like, sometimes when you're working with clients, you're giving them advice and ideas, and you're doing work, but everyone just assumes it's the business doing it. That's what marketing agencies do, right? Sometimes you have the relationship that you can be like, hey, I do their marketing, blah, blah, blah. And then sometimes you don't.
So most big companies hire marketing agencies versus having like their own marketing. Like, how does that work?
So it depends. Like, if you have a lot of marketing that you want to do, then you could hire, right? And have someone working all the time. But with an agency, you're not paying someone all the time.
Right.
But you're getting good work. So I think it's more cost effective a lot of times with an agency. But that's just me. Because I work for an agency.
Well, naturally. Blow your boogies. You got boogies? Blow them. It's okay.
Do you have your orange snot cloth? Your snot rag?
Yes. Well, it's clean now.
Can I use your hat? It's orange.
I know. We need to start selling these Terrence Taylor Media hats, but I only made one of them.
What does it say?
It just says Terrence Taylor Media, established in 2017. I got my
Can you wear one if you're not Terrence Taylor?
Yeah, you should wear one if you're not Terrence Taylor. They're going to be on sale soon. Check it out, TerrenceTaylorMedia.com. We got booties in production now. Nice. Speak things into existence. I have my Art Pays Me hoodie on too. So much love. I heard you bought Art Pays Me.
I did. I just ordered a hat. I'm super psyched about it.
Shouts out to Dwayne Johnson. Yeah. Art Pays Me. Go get your Art Pays Me. That was just like an ad plug.
I know.
That
right?
we didn't even mean to do, but we just did it. Oh, cool. So we're getting our practice on. For people to really sponsor. So, I'm excited to talk to you about the monetization of podcasts.
Oh God. Okay.
Because you're a marketing person and you know how to speak to people. And that's what we do on podcasts is speak to people. But it's a weird, I mean, and I know there's pretty standard ways to monetize a podcast. You can do ads, you can do live shows, merchandise. And that's
if you're big enough, people will pay to come on it. Is that a thing? See, I'm in marketing and I don't even know.
No, because Joe Rogan's podcast is probably one of the most listened to, and people are just amped to be on it. Now, mind you, I'm sure people wouldn't turn down getting some money to come on the Joe Rogan podcast, but I don't think Breakfast Club, no, they don't pay for interviews. Yeah, so no, but that's radio. And I guess that's the thing, right? Like, it's this weird form of content that's like kind of something, it's kind of other things, but we are marketing like ourselves as our brand, like talking on a show for an hour. Like that's part of developing personal branding. So go.
So when you talk about monetizing your podcast, really your podcast should be the platform in which you monetize yourself and your other services. So you have another business, right? You have a video production business.
Right.
So are you using this podcast to make money? I know you are actually doing it because you love it and it's what you want to do.
Right.
Not everyone is like that.
Right.
Some people start a podcast because they want to kind of get out there and become known. And people work with people that they know and like. And one way to get to know someone who you haven't met is by listening to them on a podcast, right? So for me, and I'm, like I said, yours is the first podcast I ever listened to.
Shouts to CTN, yo, making history out here.
It made me late to get into the office that day. Yes. If I actually had a scheduled time to go into my office.
Living your best life.
Shape your life. But I think that it's an opportunity to get more recognition and awareness about who you are and who other people are and how can you capitalize on that. Right. If this is something you love to do, I love to run. I absolutely love to run. If you told me that I had to run a marathon, that would be painful to me. I don't want to run a marathon. I don't want to do it because it's work. I want to do it because I love it.
Right.
And I think the thing we have to ask ourselves sometimes is, if you're doing something that you love and then you try to monetize it, are you still going to love it? And so that's why I think for you, and we talked about this for a second, I don't think you try to monetize this. I think you try to use this to support and grow awareness for your other business and for you.
Yeah. Because
who knows? I mean, you're in video production now. People get to know you. They hear you on here. They're like, you've spoken at some events, right? Like I met you, you were speaking at an event. That could be your jam too.
Right.
Maybe you have a whole bunch of different things that you want to do, but this is like a launching pad to get you the other things that you want.
Yeah. Cause that's why I'm interested. And I'll talk to people like, I feel like whatever you're doing, you should have a podcast, or this should have a podcast. Cause like, the amount of people and like conversations and relationships, like you said earlier, you're in the business of relationships, and
that's my driver, is building connections, social connections, relationships.
Right. So if that's what this becomes, and that's what this has become, is a means of networking and meeting people in a way, like we're thinking about Chamber of Commerce. I'm going to get me a Chamber of Commerce membership. And it's like, okay, that is a form of networking that really doesn't take that much work, because they can put on the event, you can show up and you can handle your business cards and whatever. But how many relationships did you actually make in this like rat race to pass out your business card to as many people as possible? Yeah. So it's like, okay, well, if like you got here, it was like noon, 12:30, and we'll we chatted for like almost 2 hours, hour and a half, 2 hours, record for an hour. Like we'll have spent like 3 to 4 hours of undivided time, like as two humans having a conversation without all of the noise and all of the shit that exists in all of the world.
Yeah.
And yes, Instagram is a great means of networking and communication, but like I see how many people watch my story and I'm like, I know that means you're watching hundreds of other stories. So how much shit are you actually taking in? Like how meaningful is any of this if it's here and gone and like swiped to the next one? So that's very interesting.
And again, like the Chamber of Commerce thing, the networking. If you go thinking I want to network and I want to hand out your business cards, are you going to leave being like, that was awesome, I had so much fun doing that? No, because you had to do it. No one is having fun. Half the people there are employed by other people. They have to go to this. Right. So how are you really going to build those connections? But, you know, when we met at PodCamp, I'm sure that there were relationships formed at PodCamp that were like mutually beneficial for people.
Right.
But a lot of those people were kind of doing the same thing. So it didn't feel like networking there, right? It felt like you were talking to your own community.
Right.
And that's where you really develop these quality relationships. Like that's where you get to know people when you don't have to do something. When you're doing it because you want to and you don't have to, then I feel like that's where relationships happen.
So what kind of on relationships, well, not really, but what about relationships and personal branding? Like how do those, because you're kind of in the business of both.
Kind of, yeah.
So how does that overlap?
I think with the whole personal branding thing, I have always just analyzed kind of who I am. I've really thought hard about like who I am and what kind of perception people have of me and how I want to shape that, right? So I feel like I automatically am more of a memorable person because I'm tall, right? And I'm always wearing heels. So people are going to recognize me.
You're how many feet tall?
I don't even know. I think I'm like 5'11" maybe with heels.
Gotcha.
Which I'm always in heels.
Gotcha.
Except when I'm running. I don't run in heels.
Don't do that.
I mean, I actually do run in heels, but not out for a run.
Heels and jogging suit. No, ma'am. Don't do it.
No, but like I can't go from the car to a store without running. I don't know what it is. Why I'm always in such a hurry, but it's what I do.
Efficiency.
Anyways, it's part of my brand. But I think that the more we think about our personal brand and like what we're comfortable doing and how we present ourselves, the more likely we are going to be open to making new connections, and the more likely we're going to be memorable, and like people will be like, oh, I remember you from the last event. So say you go to a chamber function and you don't even talk to anyone, but you're tall, right? And you have your own style. You're a memorable looking person. Someone's going to come up to you the next event because they're not going to see anyone else they know. And they'll be like, yeah, I saw you at the last event. Right. So when you don't have some sort of crazy identifier, like you're not super tall or you're not super short or you don't have this weird ass face. I don't know.
Green hair.
Green hair. But you need to really figure out how to make yourself memorable.
How do you do that though? If you're just the average tall, like average type person with the average everything, with the average name, like how do you stick out?
How is anyone really average, right? So you say you were just like average looking guy. If I met you, which I heard you at PodCamp, you spoke like so frankly and you were so real, and there were a couple curse words.
Just a few.
And you were just you. And to me that was instantly like, that's why I say you're my kind of vibe. Like you were just real, and I was like, oh, this guy would always tell it like it is. Like he does what he wants to do. He likes to chat with people. He's open. He's just himself. And to me, that's part of your brand. Right. I talked to a group of bloggers on personal branding, and there was another girl that was speaking at PodCamp, and I said to her, you know, and I'm just talking looks now, it goes so far past looks, but I said, I noticed that you were always wearing, or that you were wearing a scarf. And I was like, I wondered if that was like part of your personal brand. You always wore a scarf. And she's like, actually, I kind of always do wear a scarf. She's like, I never thought about it as like a brand thing. And I was like, but you know, people will remember you as like the one who's always in the nice scarf.
Right.
And so she's like, yeah, like, you know, I wear a lot of blue. So there are the physical things that you have to think, like, I always wear one piece of funky jewelry, like mildly funky jewelry. That's just my thing. I'm always in heels. It's who I feel comfortable being, you know, like it's I don't dress any different way, you know, to be anyone else. It's just who I am. And when people always expect that from me, like people always see me like that, they're like, oh, this person is, I don't want to say consistent, but like it's part of what makes me me. So if someone described me, they'd be like, oh, the tall girl who's always in heels, right? Yeah. I don't care if you know my name yet. If you're talking about me and, you know, eventually you're going to know my name and you're going to work with me. Right. Memorable. But it goes so much deeper than that. Like you have to really, I love the whole Myers-Briggs personality profile thing. Yeah, you were talking about that earlier. You can do little tests online. They're really fun because you do your little tests and then it tells you like kind of what your drivers are, what types of relationships you have with people. Not all of it might be bang on, but a lot of it is. And it starts to make you think about who you are and how you come across, right? And what is important to you. And I just find it's really great. The more you know about yourself, the more you can kind of promote your personal brand. And flaws are a part of your brand.
Well, that was going to be my next question. Like, how do you figure out who you are?
I think it is like who you feel most comfortable being. So, you know, whether that's what you wear, like you have to wear what makes you feel like you. And the second you're wearing something and you're like, you feel uncomfortable, you feel like you're not yourself, you're not going to come across as like a confident person to someone.
That's why I don't like wearing jeans.
So don't wear jeans.
They're not comfortable. I don't like them. I feel weird wearing jeans. I don't like doing it.
Right? So I think confidence is huge in how people see you, right? Like not one person in the world will not be attracted to a confident person. I don't mean like sexually, physically, but like you're attracted to confidence, right? Right. And I think when you really kind of figure out who you are and how you want to come across, whether it's like, you know, the vibe that you have on social media, how you dress, how you talk to people, how you interact with people, as long as you're comfortable and you feel like you're going to be way more confident, which makes people like attract to you. Yeah.
Isn't your personal brand just like being yourself?
It should be, but a lot of people don't know how to be themselves. A lot of people are trying to fight to be someone or to come across as someone different.
What was that thing you said earlier about
I've been blabbing so long.
Being yourself and not changing you, but
yeah. So I was just saying how I think we really try to fit ourselves into a box sometimes. So we see someone really successful that has a successful business. They're working all the time. Like they're working, 14 hours a day or whatever. And we're like, man, I would really like to have that success. But yeah, you don't want to like put your whole life on hold to work the whole time. Right. So instead people are like, yeah, I need to work harder. I need to work harder. Do you want to work harder? Do you want to work more or do you want to enjoy life more? Is enjoying life a good sacrifice for, not having a crazy successful business? And I think that we try to fit ourselves into boxes sometimes because we think we should be doing something and we think we should be changing ourselves to fit into that little box and do what we need to do, when really we just need to like change the way we think. We need to accept who we are and our flaws and change the way we think in order to like live a quality, fulfilling life.
So I'm me. I like what I like. I like to do the things that I like to do, but I want to have X, Y, and Z. but I don't necessarily want to do all the things that are required to have X, Y, and Z. So what is it that I actually need to do the thing that I actually want to do?
How important are X, Y, Z to you?
Right.
What are you willing to sacrifice for X, Y, Z? Because you're going to have to sacrifice something.
Yeah. What have you sacrificed to get the things that you want to have? I
feel like I've already done all my sacrificing.
Okay.
I sacrificed a lot of time and, stress in certain jobs. And I loved those jobs at the time. They were like so me and I was ready for it. But I worked a lot and I'm not willing to sacrifice fun for money. And I can say that because right now I'm not homeless, I'm not fighting for, food or anything. So it sounds weird to even say, but I've sacrificed a lot of my time for money. So now I don't have to sacrifice as much as my time for money.
Right. I was listening to Joe Rogan's podcast actually yesterday with Andrew Schultz, and he was talking about once he wasn't working for money, he made his best work. Mm-hmm. Soon as it wasn't, I need to do this in order to pay X, Y, and Z, then it was, this is the best work I've ever created because my focus is on creating the best work I've ever created. Mm-hmm. But that's a luxury though. That's a thing that takes more time than we often feel like it's going to. So and it's easy to say well, you got to sacrifice and then eventually you'll get it. But that's obviously hard, easier said than done. Right. And,
we talked about what changing the narrative really meant. I think we get in a mindset of sacrifice time for money, that we get so used to doing that at no point are we okay, I'm good. I can ease off on the sacrifices, right? Because we expect to just keep growing and growing and growing, or we're doing what we need to maintain, that we never ask the question, am I actually here?
Yeah. You set all these goals, and then when did you actually reach the goal? And once you got there, are you enjoying the fact that you reached the goal, or are you setting another goal and not being satisfied with the fact that you worked your ass off to get to the one you just, it's that the fucking rat race, yo. But everyone, it feels like
everyone's in it. Yeah.
So how do you get to the point of, okay, I've sacrificed enough and now it's I'm good. How?
I think it's really thinking hard about your priorities and what you want. So when I was, I don't know, 10 years ago or whatever, I really wanted a big fancy house on the water. Mm-hmm. I don't care about that anymore. I have a lovely home. It's comfortable. I can afford it. I don't care about a big fancy home on the water.
Right.
And I think I had to know myself enough that I was okay, I don't need to make a certain amount of money and work all the time to have a big fancy house that I have no time to enjoy.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, it's interesting, but I think we fail sometimes. It's great to set goals and keep setting goals, but I think we fail sometimes to really look at the right now and say, I want to celebrate what I've already done,
right,
or I want to change what I've already done. We don't spend enough time thinking in the present when we're working towards a goal. And sometimes when you think in the present, you can be okay, that was cool. I'm doing good. I can back off for a minute. I can enjoy life for a minute.
There's something about being, being in the present and thinking about the present. That's almost well, if I'm not thinking about the future, then I'm not growing. I'm not looking forward to growth. I'm being stagnant. I'm comfortable. I'm satisfied. And there's this kind of negative stigma on working so hard till you're satisfied or comfortable, but it's isn't that kind of the point? But I don't know. It's when so then when does complacency set in? And what is the balance of then how do you counterbalance those two things?
How do you keep going? I don't know. I think it depends on the person. And again, this comes down to knowing who you are, right?
Yeah.
Going through the process of understanding what your drivers are. because I know for myself, my driver is never money. It's relationships. So obviously I've had to find a way to make money from working or building relationships that I want to build.
Right.
So obviously everyone still needs money, but I don't know where you figure it out. I think, again, you just have to keep asking yourself the question, right? Like, am I being complacent? Am I working towards my goals? Is it worth working towards these crazy goals that I've set for myself? And if it is, depending on your drivers, then go for it and you'll be happy. But without us understanding what makes us want to do something or like back away for something, it's hard to make those decisions.
How many years of life do you think you had to live before you were like, okay, I'm aware of the game and I'm going to play it my way, and like actually really just played it your way? Because we often see it and we're like, okay, I know I'm in the matrix, but like I don't know how to get out of it. And so you kind of go through some shit and you work at this job and you're in this position, and then life happens this way, and you're like, wait a minute, I could reprogram my thinking. Like when did that happen for you?
That happened for me after I had my second child, and my husband said, life would be a lot easier if you just stayed at home. And so I thought about it. He had been saying it for a while, and I thought about it, and I was like, yeah, okay. Like he's commission based. So his income depends on how much he works, essentially, right? Or how effectively he works. And he was thinking that if I was off taking care of the kids and he never had to take a sick day with them or go in late or come home early, that he would have more potential at his work. Okay. So I decided to be a stay-at-home mom, and I failed. I completely failed at being a stay-at-home mom, and I love my kids and I have great kids. They're fantastic. They were easy, but I was not happy at all. I felt like I went from being like multidimensional to having one role, and it wasn't fulfilling to me. So my only other option to have the flexibility and the balance was to start my own business. So really at that time, it was my only option. It was not like, yay, I'm rich, I can do what I want. It was not like that at all. I still had to be like the sole provider for our children, so he could still, do what he needed to do. But I still needed to do something that was fulfilling for me and make money doing it. Because you still have to make money.
There's no doubt.
Even if it's not your big driver, you still have to make money.
Do you have any advice for artistic people who struggle with that very thought? I want to do it, and it doesn't. It's cool if it makes money, but like it's not the most important thing. For those people who money is not their driver, like how do you convince people to be driven by money by like that certain level? Like it doesn't have to be everything, but to a certain extent. Yeah. It has to be, right?
Yeah. And I think it comes down to when they are doing it for money, they're not going to love doing it as much, right? That's just what, if they feel like they have to do it, they're not going to love doing it. I think it all comes down to like really having a lot of support and cheerleaders on your side. And a lot of artistic people, they're very inspired and they're creative, and their minds are probably a little bit scattered sometimes, right? But if you have people around you who can say like, oh my gosh, like you're selling your art for this, you should be selling it for this. Like sometimes people just need to hear this stuff, right? Yeah. And try it. And I think a lot of times, again, it comes down to confidence and understanding your self-worth. And the more you know about yourself, and the more that you kind of put yourself out there and try a bunch of different things, the more you're going to find out what makes you confident. And the more confident you are, essentially, the more successful you are. I don't care what industry you're working in. The more confidence, the more success. Because people want to be around you and they want to support what you do and they want to buy what you have. It's just the way it works. So all of these brooding, artistic people who are like, Like, oh, I know I'm good, but I just don't think people will pay for it.
Yeah.
Like, find a way to get some confidence.
Yeah.
Ask people, give people, opportunities to give feedback. Ask them what they should be charging for their work or their art.
Right.
Like, anything you can do to gain that confidence that makes you say, okay, this is totally worth what I'm asking for, or I need to ask for more. I'm big on confidence. Where do you think
the lack of confidence comes from in the, I don't want to say maybe artists, but maybe just like kind of in general in people?
In general, I think lately it's the whole Instagram social media stuff, when everyone's putting up like their best pictures of their best life, and everything is so edited and I don't want to say fake, but a lot of it is, right? So we're comparing our whole lives every day to like this person's vacation.
Right.
Or whatever. And I think I'm not a person that compares myself to other people. It's just not I never have been. I'm like,
right.
Oh, good for you. But so many people do. Like, I've had friends say like, I had to stop following so-and-so on Facebook or Instagram because their life seems so perfect. It makes me think that mine isn't. That is a confidence buster right there.
And that's real though.
Yeah.
Like, that's a lot of people's,
so many people. Like, how do you feel if you're looking at like, you follow some people that you're inspired by and stuff, right? And I'm sure there's people that you're like, yeah, good for you. Are there people that you're like, oh, every time you see it, it kind of makes you feel like you should be doing more, or you're not good enough? Or
I'd be lying if I said no, that doesn't happen. But I think you get to a point where, and I think I've also gotten to the point where it's like nothing anybody else is doing actually really matters to me. Like, unless it actually is impacting me, then most of it is just like, we see too much as it is. Mm-hmm. So if we know we're being hyper exposed to everything all the time, then it's like, what is it? What is it even? Really? So I think that's I was having a conversation about this very same thing, and like, when are we going to, like, when is the fad, the excitement of social media and smartphones? Like, when are we going to get to the point where it's like, okay, it's a smartphone and that's what it does, and it's just like a Rubik's Cube. Like, it has its purpose and we're not controlled by it, because it's like, we know what it's doing. We know the negative effects of the internet and social media and like our attention spans, and like, just like, we know too much. We know way too fucking much, and we're not processing any of it. So like, what do we really actually know? Mm-hmm. So it's like, if we know it's not good, but I mean, think about all the other things, and we know fucking deep fried food is shitty, and we eat it anyway, addiction. And we don't care.
It's all addiction. We think it makes us feel better. It actually makes us feel worse. That's what,
So it's not going to stop.
It's not going to stop. It's not. But that's why, like, I'm raising my kids, and our biggest topic in the house is always confidence.
Okay.
Because I want them...
Raising girls too, yeah.
Raising girls, right? I want them to have this kind of shield around them that confidence brings, that if someone's saying something bad about them that they know is not true or whatever, that it just kind of bounces off and goes somewhere else, and they're going to be more kind. They're going to work to raise other people's confidence.
Right.
But yeah, it's freaking scary raising kids in a world that we didn't have to, like, when we were little kids, that stuff wasn't even a thing.
So do you think we're too protected? Kids are too protected, or do you think kids are too exposed to the things?
I think there's some of them are too exposed for sure.
Okay.
But I think the only thing that can protect kids is confidence. I think the only way that we will be able to ensure that they have, you know, a good life and be happy who they are and not compare themselves to others in a world that forces you to do that now. The only way we can protect them is to like teach them how to be confident and sure of themselves and know who they are and not worry about all that other shit.
How hard is that to do?
It's freaking hard. I don't know. I think if you start young, like I'm hoping, you know, my kids are 5 and 7. We've been talking about confidence for a long, long time. I'm hoping that just always in their mind, they're going to understand the importance of being self-assured and confident and do the things they need to do. Just like the more we can teach our kids how to like find ways that improve their confidence. You don't have to be egotistical, but you have to like make sure you're surrounding yourself with friends who like tell you how awesome you are. I have my group of friends is amazing. We're always telling each other how awesome they are, right? There are a lot of people out there with frenemies who
Too many
frenemies. These people who they think are friends who are like digging at them passive aggressively or behind their back or whatever.
Do you think the internet makes that better or worse?
I think the internet makes that more noticeable.
What do you mean?
Like, if you have a great group of friends and you're on Instagram, those great group of friends probably aren't even going to comment, or they're going to say, great pic, or like, you have so much fun, blah, blah, blah. But then you're going to have the people who you're just going to know, like, you're going to be more aware of the people who aren't supporting you in that way, right? So I don't care about that stuff. But think of all of these influencers that are making their lives based on who they are and the photos that they have. Like, this is a huge job now, is being an influencer.
Right.
And those people, I think, are going to realize who's in their circle and who's not when everything is online. Like, those people are going to lose a lot of friends who aren't their real friends.
Right.
Because they're going to be like, why are you so egotistical? Why do you always have photos of yourself? Or, you know, how did you do this for a business? And blah, blah, blah. I think it just, the internet and social media makes everything more, you're just more aware of how people respond to you and interact with you.
Because you can see it.
You can see who's in your circle.
You can see who you feel like should be liking your pictures, but isn't liking your pictures. And then you create this whole scenario in your brain about how this person may or may not feel about you. And you never have a conversation about it because that's just what humans do.
Yes.
But we're on the internet, which is a real place that's not a real place, but that reflects how people really feel.
See, you said it perfect. I should be asking you the questions.
You can ask me questions if you want. That's the beauty of all of this. We just talk all shit. No, that's crazy, yo. Like, and you work with influencers and shit too, don't you?
I'm starting to more.
What's that like?
I don't really know, because I don't understand quite how it works with influencers and marketing agencies, but more and more businesses are and should be using influencers that represent their brand, right? So I think it's really important for businesses, when they're using an influencer to promote their event or their products or whatever, to not just pick the person with the most amount of followers.
Right.
Because followers don't really mean anything. Engagement means more. But I think they need to choose people who speak to their brand and have the same values as their brand has.
Right.
But I want to find a way to connect those people. But again, it all comes down to monetizing. Like, how do you make that happen? If they're getting free tickets to an event, there's no money being exchanged. Right. So right now, how I connect influencers to business is just because I want to, and I get nothing for it. And I'm cool with that because I'm connecting people with the right businesses. It's mutually beneficial, even if there's nothing in it for me. But that's what I kind of get excited about.
But there is something in it for you.
Because I'm a person who likes relationships and helping people, that's what's in it for me.
Right.
Yeah.
How long did it take for you to identify like your drivers? I'm using your terms now.
My drivers. I think I'm going to say like in the last 5 years, maybe.
Okay.
Because
nobody knows how old you are, by the way. I don't know if you're doing that strategically, but I guess.
You know how old I am.
I do, but.
Everyone knows how I promote my age all the time.
How old are you?
39.
Okay, perfect. Just because some people don't know. So listen, you say 5 years. You know why? They're like, 5 years from when?
Yeah, I do. I talk about my age a lot because
Why?
I think that there are so many women who are afraid of aging. Men don't care because the perception is men get, more attractive with age and women get less so.
Right.
But I feel like at this age, I'm more confident than I've ever been. I have more physical strength. I work out more. I know myself more. I laugh more. I have quality friendships, like all of this good stuff. I'm like, if this is 39, I'll take it. Like, give it to me. It's going to get better, right? So
that's what they say.
It does. How old are you?
31.
Oh, 31.
So I'm like just learning what it's like to be 30.
So what was your best age?
Honestly, I'm going to, and until something changes, I'm going to have to say like the last year. Yes. Because I just know more shit than I knew before. And the more, like I said, the more aware I am of what's happening, like, I feel like it's like expedited learning. I think business did that too, right? Like,
yeah.
All right, you're going to build a business and it's going to be based around you. So like you need to learn about yourself. Because if this is part of your personal brand, then like you need to know what that represents. And then just meeting people and having like 9 out of 10 people who say like, yeah, I can't wait to order your meals. And like those 9 out of 10 people never order anything from you. So you're like, oh shit, this like all these stats and all these cliches about business are real. And you're like, okay, well, all these cliches about life are fucking real. And then you're in it and you see it and you're like, oh, I get it. This is the Matrix.
Yeah.
I'm in it and here's how I'm going to maneuver accordingly because of it.
Yeah. And you've worked.
Was that your stomach again?
Yes, it was like, I swear I shouldn't have eaten. My stomach growls so loud. It's the only thing about me that growls. I'm usually pretty happy. So.
And your stomach growls when you eat food.
Yes. It growls when I eat food.
So when you're not.
When I'm hungry, it doesn't growl. I like to be different.
Makes you who you are.
It's
perfect.
So I want to talk about your brand for a second.
Ooh, yes, perfect. Go.
Like your face is your brand. Like literally when I say like part of your personal branding is how you look, you're just putting it out there.
Yeah.
And why? I mean, I like it. I told you, I like everything about your brand. It's very memorable and recognizable, even you as a person. Why? Why did you make that decision to put your face out there?
Because it's me. I don't want to, like I said to you, I don't want to just show up at somebody's door, them thinking they ordered something, and then I'm there, and this is not what they thought they were getting themselves into. Like, no, this is me, and I'm just, I couldn't think of anything else. Like, is my face in my name? Like, I don't know. I don't really know what, like, I don't know what else to do or what else to be. Like, it's just, if I can just be myself all the time and I'm creating art, which is true to myself, then so it's like, this is what it is. And I think that, like, authenticity and like being yourself, that is my brand.
Yeah. And
it just naturally became that way because I was just like, here's me, folks. And I guess it was using some of those, hey, you're tall and you have tattoos and you're black and people are going to notice you anyway and you got braids and you dress nice. And it's like, well, if people are going to look at me, I may as well give them something worth looking at.
Yeah.
And so it was double down on the things that you already have in your benefit and just use them, right? Like I don't write, so I don't like writing. So I don't write.
It's funny because you're such a good writer. Like your texts or your emails, the way you speak.
Right.
Like, you're a good writer.
I need to stop telling myself I'm not a good writer because I keep being told I can write stuff.
Did you write your website?
Yeah. Most of it.
It's good.
Thank you. I had some help, but yeah, I did most of it.
Yeah. But like, again, your personal brand is you. Like I said, when I met you, you're unapologetically you, right? Like, you can tell you're not trying to change for anyone. And that is confidence, right? Yeah. So automatically I was like, I want to work with that guy. Right. I didn't know really anything about you. I was like, I knew I wanted to work with you because you were confident, and confident people are more successful and they do good work. If you were not confident, you wouldn't have put your face on your brand. With my nappy hair. Right? And when you said that you got a haircut, and I said, don't tell me. No way. And you were like, no, I'll never cut my hair. No. Good. It's your brand. Someday you might. Maybe. Be a little trim. Yeah. But I feel like I wear either a lot of colors or I wear black. I feel like those are part of my brand. Yeah. I feel like glasses are part of my brand. Yeah. And I didn't realize a lot of this stuff. And it's funny because I've worn glasses since the first grade. And I was always like, oh, these glasses make me look like a nerd. And then I was like, but I am just a nerd who wears glasses. But that's me. And it is interesting, like going through a jock phase, like playing sports and going to university and like being that guy. And then who is so far removed from like the nerdy kid who literally like carries his books to school was like, nah, I'm too cool to even buy books in university. Like, wait, hold on. What are we talking about here? But it's like, it's just weird to see the evolution of self, but then like really seeing that, like, what to say, things change and they stay the same. Mm-hmm. Like, so yeah, just cool looking back and learning about myself. Yeah. But not enough people do that. Why? Why do you think? I don't know. Like, it baffles me. Like, you have to live with yourself 24/7, right? And why we spend so much time learning about other people scrolling fucking Instagram. Why? Like, take some personality profiles, take some quizzes, learn a bit about like who you are and make yourself better. Don't spend time looking at someone else's vacation and I do it. Like, I have Instagram. I'm not going on it, but that's not useful. Like, we don't need to focus on getting to know everyone else when we haven't gotten to know ourselves yet. But people just don't. It's like they're scared of what they're going to see. I have a Facebook friend. I don't really know her, but I know from her posts and stuff that she's going through a lot of self-discovery. And I want to sit down with her and be like, what is that process? Because I've never done it in a process, but like, what does that entail? How do you really get to know yourself? Yeah. And it just makes me admire her more because she's putting some effort into it. Like, we just don't put enough effort into getting to know ourselves. We put a lot of effort into changing ourselves. A lot of effort. Put a lot of money and time into changing ourselves. But we don't put a lot of effort into finding out who we are and maybe keeping the things that we like. Is it fear? Might be for some people. Or maybe you feel egotistical, like delving in. Maybe you're afraid that, you know, you're going through this stuff and you're going to find stuff that you don't like. Like, isn't it great when we find the stuff that we hate about ourselves, though? Oh, isn't it amazing when you reach it? You gotta but you can hate something that you can change, or you can hate something that, like, in all reality, you know that you're not going to change, right? And I think that people are scared to, like, promote their flaws, and I promote my flaws. I am scattered. What are they? Yeah. I'm a scattered person. I'm super inspired. I get distracted by like creative, exciting things. Yeah. But I have shaped my life so that most of my work is ideas. It's not like sitting in front of a computer writing a communications plan all the time, you know, like it's ideas. I'm scattered. I'm super clumsy.
Okay.
Like, I'm sure that like some businesses at their Christmas parties play videos of me falling in stores. Like, but I love it because I look graceful.
Of course you do.
But I'm not. Like, I feel like that's cool. I'm like, you gotta walk ahead of me down the stairs because I'm probably gonna fall. Yeah, and I'm super forgetful, but I admit that. Like, on my proposals now, when it's just me, I actually have a section that says what it's like to work with me. And I say, I'm brutally honest. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat something if I think being brutally honest will help you more.
Right.
You know, I love to support people and I love to be a cheerleader, but I'm going to be honest if I think you're doing something wrong or I think you need to do something better.
Right.
And I talk about that. I don't like commitment. Like, I don't want to be tied down. I don't like contracts. That's not how I work. I feel like I'm better working when I want to work on something rather than when I have to work on something. Mm-hmm. And I lay it all out. And just like you say, you get what you get. Like, this is me. I'm not going to change who I am to do something.
Because then you hire me and then you want something done a certain way. And that's not the way that I do the things. Mm-hmm. And if that's how you wanted the things to be done, I could have told you somebody else that you could have hired. And they would have done the thing that you wanted exactly how you wanted to do it.
Wouldn't have been as good.
But it would have been that way. Yeah. And I think that's I figured out, I know the things I do well and I do them, and that's what I just do a lot more of because that's all I'm good at.
So what are your flaws? And do you promote them as part of your personal brand?
What are my flaws and do I promote them as? See, I try to have a sick, twisted way of like flipping the things that like should be deemed as negative and finding a way to look at them positive, like Spin Doctor on the other side. So it's like, you know, the fact that I mean, in society's perspective, like I'm probably the antithesis of like what the average, quote unquote, average person would gravitate towards because I'm just not the average person. Yeah. So I know that me being tall and black and handsome is a thing that to some people is great, but I know to some people they can't fucking stand it. So it's like, well, I just want to be around people that appreciate it. And for those of you who don't, I'm just not going to spend time with you at all anyway. So, you know, like, what else? I'm not great with finding ways to be competitive in a healthy way as an athlete who's not an athlete anymore. And now I'm in business and I want to like push the creative community to like be better, but I usually don't do it in positive ways because I have like, I'm a hip hop baby. So let's rap battle. Mm-hmm. Like let's throw jokes back and forth at each other and laugh about it at the end. Like I want the shit. I'm played ball. Like I want elbows and I'm trying to untie your shoe if I can, if that's how I get the edge. So it's like, how do you do that in a world now where artists, we need to work together in order, especially here in Atlantic Canada, to uplift what it is we're doing here. Mm-hmm. How do I do that in a healthy and competitive way without knocking down other people? But it's not, I want everybody to win because I understand that. Yeah. If there's 100 people here in Atlantic Canada that make videos and they sell film, then that's perfect because you're not going to do it like me and I'm not going to do it like you. So the people who want to like you going to go over there and people who want to like me going to come over here and we can all eat and we can all win. Because
you and I are both in video production, essentially.
That's what I'm saying.
But very different styles.
For sure.
Yeah.
And we both win and we both eat. So it's like, all right, if we're not stepping on each other's toes, but like we can find ways to work together to uplift each other. And I don't know. I just don't know if I've come up with the best means of sending out that message. Because I'm also the big intimidating dude who like, no one's going to say anything to me. A lot of people aren't going to say this shit to me. They just won't. So it's like, all right, well, this conversation that probably could have been had is probably never going to happen.
Yeah.
And then it kind of is on me, and I'm like, I'm not responsible for how everybody else feels. Fuck them. If you're in your feelings, we got shit to do. We winning regardless of what you guys got going on. So it's like I want to be supportive of other people, but I still want to focus on myself. But like, how do I do that in a way that's not big angry black dude?
Yeah, but you know that about yourself, right? So a lot of people would be like that but not recognize it, and you know that about yourself, so you'll try to find ways to make it work.
That's your stomach again?
Yes. Can you not draw attention to it?
Are you ready to eat sushi now?
I think we should have like a one where we just listen to my stomach.
ASMR of your stomach when you're hungry.
I like it.
When you're not hungry.
When I'm not hungry.
We don't even know when. Your stomach just makes noise when it feels like making noise. Listen, what do we at?
It's just chiming in.
It was perfect. That's perfect. Did you have fun?
I did. You asked some interesting questions. Can we end with one thing?
Of course we can.
Can you tell me your most embarrassing moment?
Ooh. I was so this would have been my, what year of university? My second year at St. FX. And I was in business and didn't really go to class. Financial accounting was a course that I didn't go to any classes.
Terrible.
And so the exam came and I didn't study. Because I didn't go to class for the first month. So if I didn't know the beginning stuff, I was screwed for the rest. So instead of saying something, I said nothing. Till I walked up to my Cuban friend, who was my teammate at the time, was like, yo, I didn't study. I need you to help me pass this exam. So we get into the exam room, and it's in the gym at St. FX. And there's tests on every desk. And this gentleman takes a test off a desk and leaves an empty test. So he got 2 tests. So now he's going to do his test and then do the second test, write the answers on it, and pass the test to me. And then I'll have my test and I could copy his answers. Problem is every desk had a test on it.
Right.
So when the prof walks down, is like, yo, where's the test for the desk? And nobody says nothing. First of all, now we on high alert. Okay, the basketball players are sitting over here. There's no test on the desk. He's 6'8", I'm 6'5". Something's going on in the corner. So about an hour and a half, 2 hours go by the test, and I'm just sitting there looking at the test like, I don't know.
You didn't even try.
I didn't know anything. So all of a sudden, to my surprise, 6'8", Cuban arm gets flung over top in the gym, over top and back, and passes the test and puts it on my desk over top of his head. Not a like smooth, like swift, like behind the back move. It was a like Magic Johnson hook shot version.
Basketball.
Like, come on, man. So that happens, and then about 2 minutes later, prof comes from over there. Busted. Oh. So then, not only did we get caught cheating in the middle of the gym in front of hundreds of people, we got kicked off the basketball team.
This doesn't sound like an embarrassing story, but like
got kicked off the basketball team, and it was a Valentine's Day. Oh, and in order to get back on the team, we had to do the beep test and get a 10 on the beep test.
Okay.
So the punishment didn't make any sense towards the crime, but I got my 10 on the beep test and I was back on the team. So we good.
Yeah.
Somebody didn't think that our coach was harsh enough on his players and their behaviors. So guess who ends up a tandem on the cover of the Valentine's Day edition of the St. FX school newspaper.
Oh my God.
Of all the things you could have talked about on a day of love, you was talking about 2 basketball players, front page, and basically ex-athletes can get away with anything, and simple and plain.
Oh my. Yeah.
So then one of my teammates and roommate at the time thought it would be clever. And I was in the room, stupid me. That's why I feel so embarrassed. Like, stupid me. I didn't want to answer the phone because a news reporter called.
Right.
From Frank Magazine.
Oh, gosh.
And news reporter called and I didn't want to answer. So my roommate answered it, did a whole interview, but didn't say nothing.
Like he was you?
As he was me. Didn't say anything incriminating.
Right.
But did a news interview with Frank Magazine that the weeks following was also then published in Frank Magazine about the behaviors of the Sandvex athletes, told by Terrence Taylor, but not actually spoken by Terrence Taylor at all. Oh,
wow. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Nice.
That happened. Mm-hmm. I was also grade 9. I was the freshman, only freshman on our varsity basketball team. This is why I lived in Las Vegas. We had this dude on our team, big somebody. And we went down the starting lineup, slapping everybody's hands. And I got to the end and I jumped and chest bumped him. And I was probably 150, 60 pounds, scrawny, soaking wet. He was probably about 350 pounds. So we chest bumped and then I hit his chest and then I back planted directly on the floor in front of everybody as a freshman starter. I look kind of silly, but hey,
that would do it.
As long as you can laugh and be happy about it. Right. No, that's all that matters. Nice. Oh, you got 2 juicy, embarrassing stories. Do you have one?
No, I'll tell you next time we do drunk changing the narrative.
That's what I'm talking about.
Drunk history.
Where do the people find you on the internet if they would like to find you?
They can't.
Okay, you're secret.
No, I'm. What am I? Oh, Miss Chris Optimist on Instagram.
Miss Chris Optimist.
Optimist, because I'm an optimist. But Chris is CRISS because I thought that was cool when I was a kid, and I still kind of think it's cool. So
whatever makes you happy. Yeah. Miss Chris Optimist on Instagrams. What if people want to work with you? How do they?
Then they can reach out to me either through In Touch Communications or on Instagram.
Done.
Yeah.
Anything left for the people before we take off?
I think we're good. This was fun. It's fun.
Drunk CTN. It's coming soon. Stay tuned. This is the Change It Narrative podcast. Thank you very much for listening.